Okay, let's be real. We're all trying to eat healthier. But what if the rules we've been following are, well, missing the most important part of the story? We're going to dive into a concept today called food coherence, and I promise you, it might just change the way you look at your plate forever.
You know this feeling, right? You eat a meal that's supposed to be super healthy. It's got the proteins, the vitamins, the whole shebang. But afterwards, you just feel sluggish, maybe bloated, or just off. It's so frustrating. And the answer, it turns out, isn't on the nutrition label. It's way, way deeper than that.
So to really get this, we have to make a pretty big mental shift. We need to stop asking what our food is and start asking what our food does once it's inside our bodies.
Yeah, forget the vitamins and proteins you see on the label for a second. The real engines of your body, the little microscopic workers running every single process, I'm talking from thinking to breathing, are your enzymes. They are the absolute stars of the show.
Okay, and this right here is the absolute key. An enzyme isn't just a thing, it's an action. It's a verb, not a noun. See, just because the protein that makes up the enzyme is there, that doesn't guarantee it's actually switched on and doing its job. Getting this one idea is crucial for everything we're about to cover. So the old way of thinking, it's kind of like looking at a pile of car parts on the floor and calling it a car. It's not. The new view understands that for the car to actually, run, you have to support the engine's activity. So we're shifting our focus from just a list of ingredients to the biological action that those ingredients are supposed to support.
All right, so if these little enzyme engines are going to run smoothly, they need everything to be perfect. They operate in this super narrow, really specific Goldilocks zone.
And when I say just right, I mean just right. Your body is performing this constant, incredibly delicate balancing act 24/7 to keep your internal environment perfect. The tiniest deviation and the whole system starts to wobble.
Let's take pH, for instance. Here's a great analogy. Think of an enzyme like a high-tech magnetic lock on a door. If the electrical charge around that lock, which is basically the pH, is even slightly wrong, the key just won't turn. The lock stays shut. The reaction stops dead in its tracks.
And you know what? It's the exact same story with temperature. There's this perfect peak temperature where activity is maxed out. But if you go even a little too high, say from something like chronic inflammation or metabolic stress, the activity doesn't just get a bit slower. No, it falls right off a cliff. It plummets.
So you might be wondering, how on earth does your body maintain this perfect Goldilocks zone? Well, it has this incredible, sophisticated architecture of what are called buffer systems. These things are working constantly, behind the scenes, neutralizing acids and bases, just to keep that delicate internal environment perfectly stable so your enzymes can do their jobs.
And this is where the problem comes in. What happens when the food we're eating actively works against this beautiful, intricate, balanced system?
We're always taught that more is better, right? More protein, more healthy sugars. But overloading your system is exactly like flooding a car's engine with gas. Pumping in more fuel doesn't make it go faster, it just chokes the whole system and makes a huge mess.
And that mess, it creates this nasty, vicious cycle. So you eat food your system just can't handle. Think of really highly processed stuff. Your enzymes get totally overloaded. This leads to an incomplete breakdown, which creates toxic byproducts like ammonia. And here's the kicker. Those toxic byproducts then turn around and shut down the very enzymes that were trying to deal with them. It's a self-sabotaging loop.
The end result of constantly breaking these internal rules is, well, it's not pretty. It's a state of total internal chaos that leads directly to all the things we're desperately trying to avoid. Metabolic stress, chronic inflammation, a system that just slows way down, and even the literal degradation of our precious enzymes.
Okay, so we've seen the problem. It's a big one. But what's the solution? This brings us to the core concept, the big idea that ties absolutely everything we've talked about together.
Here it is, food coherence. And it's not about how many nutrients a food has on paper. It's all about one thing. Does that food help or hurt your body's Goldilocks zone? Does it support the stable conditions your enzymes need to thrive? Honestly, that is the only question that really matters.
Just let that sink in for a second. This means you can't supplement your way out of a bad diet. If the food itself is creating chaos inside you, no magic pill, no special digestive enzyme is going to fix the root problem. The food itself has to be coherent.
And once you grasp this concept, it really forces you to redefine what health even means in the first place.
Look at this shift in thinking. It is huge. We're moving away from obsessively counting nutrients and calories. Instead, the real game is creating stable enzyme activity, supporting those amazing internal buffer systems and doing everything we can to minimize metabolic stress. That becomes the new goal.
This really shows us that true health is dynamic. It's alive. A normal number on a blood test, it just doesn't tell the whole story. What truly matters is the speed and the rock-solid stability of the millions of chemical reactions happening inside you every single second.
So if you only take away one thing from all of this, please let it be this. The single most important goal for your health is not to consume more stuff, it's to fiercely protect the conditions that allow your own biology to work its magic.
Think about it this way. Every single meal you eat translates into one of two things for your body. It's a binary choice. It's either creating stability or it's creating stress. There really is no in between.
And so, that leaves us with a really simple but incredibly powerful question to ask ourselves from now on. The next time you look at your plate, don't just ask, is this healthy? Ask yourself this, is this meal building coherence or is it creating chaos?